Yeah, Shane, sage advice, mate. Investments in paper, gold, or silver dilute real supply demand fundamentals. It's that simple.
And Andrew, of course, we need to keep this message right at the top of the list. And do not borrow from the casinos to invest in the paper and gold or silver markets. They're not the same. We're talking physical. And I hope you can expand on this topic about physical versus paper.
Yeah, Shane, sage advice, mate. Investments in paper, gold, or silver dilute real supply demand fundamentals. It's that simple. Unfortunately, a lot of institutional GLD or SLD participants, who are legitimately seeking exposure to gold and silver, they're forced to use these instruments as it's not in their mandate to own physical gold or silver. They need to buy shares in these instruments, which is how they exist. However, there are other legitimate ETFs that are physically backed, which can accommodate these kind of funds. And we're doing our best to draw attention to these physically backed alternatives. Now, obviously, direct ownership of physical bullion, it's secured in segregated storage outside the banking system, assists in removing bullion out of the hands of this small cabal of colluding bankers and assists the real price discovery process as more and more spot gold and silver positions are backed by physical for delivery, and a true, real physical price will emerge from those dynamics. The power's in our hands, whether we collectively buy ounces or tons or kinesis. We are the solution here.
Andrew, just before we started recording today's session, you revealed what I can only describe, and I said it earlier, as a bombshell information that has not been revealed anywhere else. This is big news. And can you please share with our subscribers, with our entire community, what you'd mentioned?
Yeah, and I think this is where I can spill the beans on a very important development, which is undoubtedly related to the implementation of Basel III NSFRs. And those doubters out there, and I do understand, because you think that why is the price not rocketing up at this point? And we've obviously given reasons for that, because there's still a speculative market out there that you can gain. But on Monday night, after a very large client approached me to assist in converting a very large spot index gold position, i.e. they bought a lot of XAU FX gold, locked in the price, and they did that particularly in the last 2 weeks. And obviously they wanted to convert those spot index positions into physical, really at the smallest premium possible, into an already trapped out, refiner quotas being, they've already filled their refiner quotas to the limit. Now, obviously, the larger size that you order, the larger the premium. Now, obviously, this forced me to tap into the first-tier banks, and it resulted in a call with my client, with a long-time contact at a very well-known first-tier bank, who, until the deal's completed, obviously, we're going to remain nameless. I will go public with this, but right now the deal is still being secured. Now, during this conversation, though, this is the point. The client and I discussed, well, okay, how's Basel III net stable funding ratios, how it was impacting their business, their balance sheet, etc., etc. And we were informed that this first-tier bank had just finished unloading all their remaining unallocated gold contracts. Now, we empirically sensed this was going on. We could see by the footprints, but confirmed that they just done this, and literally, we're talking about into the end of last week, or even as recently as Monday. And now they are 100% Basel III compliant. And although this was made clear that this was off the record, I have absolutely no reason to doubt this is true. We've seen the footprints already. Now, needless to say, look, we're going to dig deeper into this revelation. Now, if one major LBMA market maker has capitulated, it suggests the BIS is clearing out unallocated risk. And while not unexpected, this is a significant bullish development. And I'll be going public on this, as I say, as soon as possible. Now, the bank, this bank has a gold account with the Bank of England. and is positioned to act as an agent for the BIS. But what this disclosure suggests is that this will at some point become mainstream, and the BIS is gradually moving to position itself for higher gold prices. And that jives with absolutely everything we're seeing. And now we're even more certain this information is related to the active sovereign that we've been reporting over the last 2 weeks, taking advantage of specs auto-selling into these bearish crosses. Now, on the 2nd of February, even Bloomberg picked up this whale, as they put it, buying into the obligatory non-farm payrolls, paper gaming. They were noticeably underpinning every single dip sub 1800 in the physical market, that was his. And as we discussed last time, and ended our episode with it, I remember, we thought the sovereign buyer that kept appearing was Russia and China centric. However, it now appears all central banks are competing to add safe haven physical reserves. And we have expressed our view that the BIS, which is far more represents the interests of Europe than the US, are in the process of parting ways, certainly with the divergent views on gold. And we discussed this in one of our interviews with Daniela and Martina Booth. And I think we were in agreement that there is definitely something going on here. And it's really not that hard to understand. You know, Europeans are on a landmass that has Russia and China as neighbors. Now, recent geopolitical risks are being stoked clearly by the US and the UK, but primarily by the US. And I hear a lot of feedback about such a split between the US and Europe is inevitable and being brought forward.